Okay, all set? Rolling it? All right, sweet. Hey guys, what's going on? So, I'm hanging out here at the Meinl booth. We're having a great time chatting about the new products that are behind me, and now we're going to take you guys through what's up. So there's two new lines that you guys are kind of introducing here at this year's Namm, and the first one's directly behind us. What's going on back here?
Okay, so what we got going on here, just a little bit of background for the people that might not know, Byzance is our professional line of cymbals, and we've had for the last couple of years 6 distinct families based on the characteristics of the cymbals. So one of the most popular sort of sub-families of Byzance was the extra dry line. And the extra dry finish that you can kind of see here, it's really raw, kind of hand-hammered, earthy kind of a sound. What we started to do a few years ago was we introduced in the extra dry line something called the dual finish. So you can see that there's actually some fine lathing on here and a brilliant finish and some heavy hammer marks. So that's like a signature Meinl product at this point, and it was instantly recognizable. A lot of folks on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and all that are posting photos of their setup, videos of their setup, and this is like one of those, like, that's a Meinl.
Yeah, myself included. Like, the sound out of these are like, it's so unique to this line. It's crazy.
Exactly. So these have become so popular that it sort of forced us into creating a 7th family of Byzance. So that's exactly what this is. So now, from this point on, anything that looks like this is going to be known as Byzance Dual rather than Byzance Extra Dry Dual. So we have 9 models in total that are coming out for this year. You're going to have a 16, 18, 20-inch China, a 19-inch crash, which is actually an expansion on the 16 and 18-inch crashes that used to exist when they were extra dry. And then we have 16, 18, 20-inch trash crashes. Then 14-inch hi-hats, they were previously only available as a 15. And so we got some 14s in there, and then this one's super interesting. This is a 14-inch multi-trash. So it looks like a trash crash, but the smaller size kind of means that you could use it to either stack on a crash or a China that you already have. You could use this as like an extra large trash splash, but the most interesting stuff, you can kind of see we have them set up here. The 14-inch multi-trash that's being used here as a top hi-hat, almost as an alternative to any 14 you might already have. Then something we've been seeing a lot of folks doing in the last couple of years, they're using 3 hi-hat cymbals. They're kind of making like a sandwich, or they're doing some weird configuration where they're stacking stuff on top, underneath, whatever it is. We kind of just call it a tri-hat. And so you can use that to sort of put it on top of an existing pair of hats, and it gives you a real sort of industrial hand clap kind of stack sound that you can control with the hi-hat, so it's kind of nice. So that's pretty much everything that's going on in what is now called Byzance Dual, and we're super stoked about it. Obviously, these being as popular as they've been, we're really excited that these are going to do well for us this year.
Yeah, I've been a fan of the Dual since I saw it online with other influencers. The 10-inch Dual Splash, one of my favorite cymbals. The Dual Crash Ride, I've had a lot of fun with that. It's like a crash, but it's also kind of like a China, depending on how you mix that guy. I'm really excited to take a look at these Chinas now. Now you actually have the Dual Chinas. That's super exciting. I can't wait to hear what those are going to sound like on the kit. So what do we got over here? What's the next line?
A couple years ago, Meinl introduced something called Pure Alloy, which is the highest quality German-made cymbal that we offer. All the Byzance stuff is made in Turkey. So Pure Alloy was sort of conceptualized to be this very well-rounded, very middle-of-the-road type of rock cymbal, for lack of a better term. And so they all had a medium weight to them, and those came out about 3 years ago. So within that line, we actually added a 24-inch medium ride and a 12-inch trash China. Those are the only 2 new models for this year, because the main focus and the thing we've been working on that we're super proud to release is what we're calling Pure Alloy Custom. So if you look at the 2, it's kind of nice that we have this one set up so you can visually see the differences between them. You have the same exact hammering marks, and there's actually a fine pinpoint lathing that's going on right here. The only difference is that we added a custom smoked bronze finish, is what we're calling it, to sort of visually set the cymbals apart a little bit. The other thing that's most notable in terms of the sound compared to the Pure Alloy traditionals is that the Pure Alloy custom stuff is made in a medium thin weight. So a lot of drummers that have been playing the Pure Alloy stuff for the last few years said, hey, these sound really good, but you know what, they're a little bit too up front in the mix, or they're a little bit too loud, and a lot of that had to do with the fact that they were a medium weight class. So here, by sort of thinning them out a little bit, these are all going to be medium thin. They're just a little bit more expressive. They're a little bit more responsive at different dynamic volume levels, that kind of a thing. So for a guy like you who's doing a lot of recording, these are going to be a little bit easier to control. They're not going to be as aggressive in the mix, let's say, as the traditionals. So the most important thing that's worth noticing, if I could pop one of these bad boys off here for you. So you have, again, just the smoked bronze top, and then you have the same hammering, same lathing, and the only difference being the medium thin weight. But most importantly, we buffed the bottom of the cymbals to have that brilliant finish.
Yeah, and it makes it brilliant. It's really cool. This sits in kind of a place where you almost have like a darkness to it, but then it's like almost reminds me of a little bit of a custom at times. You know, it's like it's got a bit of both, which is super exciting because blending this with, you know, some more jazzy style like the dual stuff, pretty cool combos with the kit.
The most interesting thing for me is that because of how different these cymbals are, it really gives people options for versatility. It gives you a lot of expressiveness in just a handful of pieces of gear. And so I think that that's going to be really exciting to see how people sort of use these as complementary, contrasting colors for each other. So within Pure Alloy Custom, it's a somewhat limited, focused release. You have 16, 18, 20-inch medium-thin crashes. You have 15-inch medium-thin hats, a 22-inch medium-thin ride, and then for me personally, my favorite is this guy right here. It's an 18-inch trash crash.
Hell yeah.
And that's super raspy, and it's just a very, very trashy cymbal, for lack of a better term. So
stackable?
Absolutely.
What are these? No, I don't recognize these guys.
So the Byzance Foundry Reserve is something that we came out with last year. So this is entering its first anniversary. But what's really nice is we actually just received a Product Excellence Award for this being sort of best in class as far as cymbals goes. So these are what we would consider the very finest Meinl cymbals you could possibly get at this moment. So these are completely made, again, like the rest of the Byzance cymbals. These are made by hand in Turkey using hand hammering, traditional lathing methods. Everything about it is super true to Turkish tradition. And so these are very, very limited in terms of not only the quantity that are available, but the reason that they're so limited. It's almost like a rare whiskey or something like that.
Yeah.
We only allow so many master craftsmen at our cymbal foundry to make it. It's almost like Lamborghini's only going to allow their best mechanics to assemble the stuff. Very similar kind of thought process behind it, is just that there's only a handful of guys in the world that have the skill that it takes to make these on a consistent basis. So we have 14, 15-inch pairs of hats. You have a 16, 18-inch crashes, and then we have two different types of rides. You have light rides and, right, exactly. So we have a 22, and I'm sorry, we also have an 18-inch crash. So these, having been on the market for about a year, we've gotten them out to enough folks that obviously it made enough of a difference for us to be awarded the Product Excellence Award, which we're super proud about. So these are all super versatile. Again, because there's an element of trashiness to it, a lot of players that may not necessarily use jazz cymbals are going to be able to incorporate these in their setup. They're going to complement anything that's going on here really well. And then we also have just the straight ahead cats that are really into that sort of vintage kind of a sound, but these are super thin, super expressive cymbals, and literally the very finest ones that we make at Meinl.
Hell yeah, Andrew. Dude, thank you so much.
Kidding me? Thank you,
This has
man.
been
Really
awesome. I'm super stoked on the new products. I got get my hands on some of them.
Awesome, man.
See what they sound like on the kit. Hell yeah.